Live from the doctor's office again. Okay, it's Dr. Livingood in the Adjusting Bay with Juanita, who graciously allowed you to learn today. And awesome story we were just kind of getting filled in on. I just wanted to capture it live so you can just understand and hear the guidance of what I would call real healthcare looks like. And so you sent me an email last week. You've been dealing with some issues for quite a long time. She's working with her medical doctor on treating her diabetes and blood pressure issues and things like that, that's where you go to get stuff treated, right? But you're here to try to help get to the cause of things and create and build health. That's my job for her in her life, which means I also need to protect you. And I can't tell you to be on medications, not on medications, that's not my job, but what I did do is empower you. So normally you would go into this appointment where you had a physical this week basically and met with your doctor, and maybe many of you do this, and you just kind of go in and you just do whatever they tell you to do, and most of the time it involves writing down a script and they just hand it to you and you walk out with more pills and you're not really getting anywhere there, right? I know it serves a purpose, but you're not really building health, you're not accomplishing what you want, which is to be drug-free and not have all these issues, So you sent me an email. I empowered her to say, hey, here's some questions you should ask. Here's some things you could look out for. I can't tell you to be on these meds or not be on the med, but I want to empower you going in. And she walked in with some questions locked and loaded, empowered like unlike before. And so we had this great conversation. So because of this, you questioned your doctor about aspirin. And aspirin, if you want to come over to the screen here for me, there's a consumer update that was sent out by the FDA in 2014 that literally says since the 90s that they've said to take the aspirin a day to help decrease heart attacks. They said, however, after careful examining scientific data from major studies, the FDA has concluded that the data do not support the use of aspirin as a preventative medication by people who have not had a heart attack, stroke, or cardiovascular problem, a use that is called primary prevention. In such people, the benefit has not been established, but risks such as dangerous bleeding into the brain or stomach are still present. So I just empowered you with that information knowing, hey, you've not previously had a heart attack, you haven't had one of these other issues, you're just taking aspirin as a primary prevention, the doctor's telling you to do it, and the research doesn't support it, says the FDA. I'm not saying that an aspirin, couldn't thin blood or help someone that's having a heart attack or something along those lines to try to give emergent care, but you can't get health by popping aspirin in. You can't get health by putting aspirin in a fish bowl. The fish would die, right? Which means when it goes in you, it creates problems like bleeding. So you go in equipped, and what do?
So they took me off.
Took you off the aspirin. She agreed. She's like, oh yeah, but see, you didn't get this flyer disclaimer in the mail. You didn't get an email saying, hey, by the way, you shouldn't be taking this anymore. How else would you have known that had you not had a clinic like this and someone walking you through real health care?
Exactly right. From Dr.
to keep you safe. So half of my job is keeping you safe from medicine so that you're not overexposed, and it's not this doctor's fault. They just weren't keeping up on the research, but they kind of knew about it. They just hadn't said anything yet, and it's increasing your risk of bleeding out. That's crazy. So we protected. And then what else happened with the diabetes meds?
Well, she lowered my doses of diabetes meds.
So I just asked you to say, hey, you should check into this because I think based on your numbers, you might have a case here. She asked her about it, and the doctor says, you know what, you're right, and lowered it. All I did was empower her. That's not my job to treat those things, but it is my job to empower you to stay healthy and protect your biggest asset. I love that stuff. So we're going to celebrate you today for your life change and the power of what the chiropractic lifestyle and the way of thinking is. That's why we should be the main doctors leading healthcare, because we want to keep people healthy and not wait for them to get sick and treat sickness, right? It doesn't mean you don't need emergent care. It just means we need to start empowering people to take charge of their own health and give them solutions that's going to get them off these medications and get to the cause of things when it can happen. So I love it. It's been a long time coming. You had a cane when you first came in. You were on a bunch of pain meds when you first came in. No cane. Drugs are disappearing. Keep it up. I love it. So good. All right. There's your little tip for the day. And if you know someone on aspirin, get them this information. If you need the article, just post below. I'll post it up for you so you can see it's right off the FDA's website.